Welcome. 2024 brings a wave of fantastic zombie movies to Apple TV. If you love terrifying tales of outbreaks, desperate fights for survival, and fast-paced zombies that keep you on the edge, this ranking is for you. Check out our list of the best zombie movies available this year on Apple TV, thrills guaranteed. The Crazies. The peaceful town of Ogden Marsh turns into a nightmare after a military plane crashes, leaking a deadly virus into the water supply. At first, the residents don't realize the danger, but one by one they begin to lose their minds. This isn't a typical outbreak. Those infected aren't mindless zombies. They're clever, fast, and terrifyingly brutal, with a bloodlust that leaves no one safe. Sheriff David Dutton, his wife Judy, and a small group of survivors must navigate a town where neighbors become deadly predators. As if fighting the infected wasn't enough, the military enforces a brutal quarantine, silencing anyone who may have been exposed. With the town cut off and mass executions unfolding, survival means evading both the infected and the soldiers. The virus is everywhere, lurking in the water, the air, and even the shadows. Every step is a gamble, every moment a test of their will to live in a town where humanity has been lost to madness. Quarantine. In the heart of Los Angeles, a TV journalist and her cameraman join a night shift of firefighters to capture the daily routine of their work. A routine call to an apartment building quickly turns into a nightmare. One by one, the residents are overwhelmed by a strange and brutal disease that turns them into bloodthirsty beasts. Authorities surround the building, isolating it from the outside world, and everyone inside is doomed to a desperate struggle for survival. The mounting tension, the claustrophobic corridors, and the horror that lurks in the darkness create an atmosphere where no one knows who will be next. Every step, every breath could be the last. The cameras never stop recording, capturing indescribable violence and terrifying secrets that make reality the worst nightmare. Survival is impossible, and darkness seems to engulf everyone. Extinction. A frosty, seemingly peaceful world hides humanity's worst nightmare. In a deserted, snowy town, 3 survivors try to survive in the post-apocalypse reality, where every night brings a new threat. The apparent peace is only an illusion. Human devourers, monstrous creatures that evolved from what was once human, lurk in the darkness, ready to attack. Isolated from the world, Patrick, Jack, and a girl named Lou are drawn into a vortex of conflicts, memories, and a terrifying struggle for life. In the shadow of winter storms, they not only fight the threat of an external threat, but also the ghosts of the past that fuel the growing tension. Every step could be the last. Every decision leads them closer to the final confrontation with something that knows no mercy. Torn between despair and the will to survive, they discover that the greatest horror may lurk not in the shadows, but in the hearts of people. Shaun of the Dead. In the heart of gray English daily life, the world is slowly beginning to slip into chaos. The streets, which just yesterday were bustling with life, are now quiet, punctuated by shrill moaning. People who were neighbors, friends, and family are turning into heartless, bloodthirsty monsters. In the background of this apocalypse stands Shaun, an average man whose life is a string of failures. His job doesn't satisfy him, his girlfriend dumps him, and his days are filled with monotony and beer at the local pub. But when the world faces the living dead, Shaun has to face his most terrible nightmare: responsibility. Armed with a cricket bat and desperation, he sets out to save his loved ones, not realizing that the real horror lurks not only in the bloodied faces of the zombies, but also in his own weaknesses. Every step in this grotesque odyssey is a balancing act of laughter and screaming. Can Shaun survive as the world dies and his humanity comes into question? Carriers. 4 people, fleeing a virus that is ravaging the world, travel the desolate roads of America. Death is everywhere, silent, inexorable, hidden in the air and touch. The rules are simple: avoid the infected, trust no one, don't stop. But human fear is as dangerous as the virus. There are no heroes on this journey, only desperation and the struggle to survive at all costs. As their strict principles are put to the test, they begin to discover that it's not just the disease that makes people monsters. Tension builds with each step as the character's past clashes with cruel reality. As the boundaries of morality begin to blur, one thing becomes certain: not everyone will survive. In a world where every decision can mean life or death, hope dies first. Zombieland. The world is in ruins, overtaken by a deadly epidemic that has turned most people into relentless, bloodthirsty monsters. Cities are graveyards, the streets echo with screams, and survivors live in constant fear. A neurotic young man, obsessed with survival rules, teams up with a cynical loner who lives for killing zombies and finding his favorite snack. Their path crosses with two cunning sisters who use deception to stay alive. Together, they navigate a shattered world where danger comes not only from the undead, but from the living as well. Every step is a fight for survival, and trust is a dangerous gamble. In a nightmare where safety is a distant memory, it's not just about fighting zombies, it's about surviving each other. The girl with all the gifts. In a world ravaged by a mysterious fungal infection, humanity has fallen prey to a terrible virus that turns people into mindless, bloodthirsty monsters. Among the survivors, there's a group of children who are also carriers of the virus, but still retain human consciousness. Treated as research subjects, these children are kept in brutal conditions and subjected to cruel experiments in hopes of finding a cure. One of them, Melanie, stands out for her extraordinary intelligence and gentleness, although inside her lies a dark secret, an unstoppable hunger for meat. When a military base is attacked, Melanie becomes crucial to the survival of a group of people, but also to the discovery of a new world order. Their journey through a devastated England forces them to make painful choices as the line between humanity and monstrosity becomes increasingly blurred. There is no room for hope here, only the struggle for survival in a world where everything that was once human has been lost. I Am Legend. The world has plunged into darkness after an experimental cancer drug turned humanity into bloodthirsty nocturnal beasts. The city that once teemed with life is now silent, filled only with shadows and echoes of emptiness. The only survivor is Robert Neville, a lone man in the labyrinth of New York's ruins. Each of his days is a struggle for survival, hunting for food, researching an antidote, escaping the horror of the night. As the sun sets, the ruined buildings turn into traps, and every step could be his last. He is surrounded by silence that pulses with fear, because somewhere out there, in the darkness, they lurk, swift, savage, and impossible to stop. Neville's loneliness is crushing, and his fragile hope that he is not the last man on Earth begins to fade. Each night becomes a battle between his life and the hungry darkness. Zombieland. Double tap. 10 years after the events of the first part, the 4 survivors, Tallahassee, Columbus, Wichita, and Little Rock, roam the desolate United States, struggling to survive in a world full of danger. In this dark reality, where every step could be the last, the heroes face new and more terrifying varieties of zombies that have evolved to become faster, stronger, and deadlier. Their journey takes them through abandoned cities and ruined landscapes where danger lurks around every corner. As the group encounters other survivors, tensions rise and trust becomes a scarce commodity. In a world where humanity has been reduced to a handful of individuals fighting for their lives, the heroes must not only face the hordes of the undead, but also their own fears and weaknesses. That's all for today. Let us know in the comments which of these movies you plan to watch, or maybe you have your favorite titles on Apple TV. Subscribe to the channel, leave a thumbs up, and see you in the next video about the best film productions.